Does everyone remember when we were
Welcome
against the
to
TSA?
Unschool, where
We've
we
kind of lost
undoctrinate you from
the
public
will
school
to get rid
nonsense.
of this terrible security theater that accomplishes nothing. Many reviews over the decades now, we're into decades of the TSA, right? They've been around since 2001, and they've been a total failure the entire time. And they've tested them. They never find the things they're supposed to find. Things just end up worse off overall. Rand Paul used to be a huge advocate of getting rid of the TSA. I'd like to see him get back to that, to pushing to get rid of the security theater, the ridiculous pat downs, and the inappropriate behavior. Let's watch this short video real quick.
Less pat downs of 6-year-old girls. In fact, I don't really think there's any reason why we should be doing that. We need to get to that point. With an adult, when an adult goes through and the image is blurred, can the adult request to go back through again?
Our policy has not been that. That's what we changed with children, simply because
I change it with adults too. 99.9% of us are not terrorists. Let us go back to the machine rather than get a pat down. You'll get rid of a lot of the anger and animosity towards the TSA and towards what you're doing, and give us a little more dignity when we travel. Just let us go back through the screener again. I mean, people don't want to have a pat down.
Yeah, I'll take that back, Senator.
We're made to feel like criminals, and we don't want to be made to feel like
Sure.
criminals when we fly on a plane.
Obviously, the only downside is it slows down the line, and then people obviously want to keep moving along, and so it's
I'm not sure it slows it down that much just to send them back through. And if they give them a choice, they can do a pat down or walk back through. But I think
The pat downs are disturbing, aren't they? I mean, I don't know, especially if you have to like remove clothing or something like that. It's just completely inappropriate.
what happens is when you ask any questions, you're sort of treated like you're guilty of some crime, and you're treated roughly. And it's like, do anything, ask any questions, and we'll pat you down more. We'll be more invasive. That's sort of the what you get sometimes as you go through the airport. But I think we need to try to continue to do what we can to isolate and target who could attack us, and to try to make it easier on those who are not going to attack us, which is recognizably 99.99% of us are not terrorists. So we need to figure out how to get them through in an expedited fashion in the most.
You can't hardly convince the guy. Well, maybe this guy, he's nodding his head. Maybe he's one of the okay ones. I don't know who this guy is, but you're not going to convince the government that 99% of Americans are not terrorists. Look at Mayorkas. That guy's convinced that Americans don't have the right to free speech. It's incredibly disturbing. So we have this article here from Jalopnik talking about how we could be changing these TSA style pre-screening checks. Better yet, just ban the TSA entirely. That would probably be the best solution because they are ineffective. They don't work. Figure out something that works. You can probably have better private security in these airports. That would be better. But it says here the TSA is testing new self screening checkpoint lanes at Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas. The new process promises passengers shorter wait lines without the hassle of taking off shoes and outerwear or removing electronics from carry on bags. Why are we still removing shoes, anyways? Why is that even a thing in the modern era? Come on. While the smoother procedure will be welcomed, it raises the question of whether the prior 2 decades of security theater were even worth it. It doesn't raise the question, I can tell you guaranteed it wasn't. The 6 month trial in Vegas is only available to flyers with TSA pre check, and instructions are currently only in English. According to the AP, passengers will be greeted by a screen with directions on how to get through the checkpoint on their own. They will be directed to put their belonging into a bin as usual, but the inspection system is fully automated. Ooh, interesting. The bin return is fitted with an ultraviolet light emitter to help keep everything sanitary between uses. The passenger will then head into a full body scanner. Not a fan of that either, though. Another video will show them how to pose. Christina Peach, a TSA branch manager, told the AP. Yeah. So still, we're gonna get ogled by some computer or a person on the other side. Really, one of the main aims here is to allow individuals to get through the system without necessarily having to interact directly with an officer and at their own pace. It's also about not feeling rushed. Yeah, but one of the big complaints is how much you can see of somebody in some of those other scanners. So this really isn't that great of a solution. The goal is to minimize the amount of interaction. a person would have with a TSA officer, including reducing the number of manual searches and pat downs. Typically, it takes a dozen officers to staff 2 checkpoint lanes. The self-service lanes would cut the number down to 8. The agency has we could cut it down to 0. Just get rid of them. They're useless. Get rid of the TSA. It's a waste of time.